It can feel very overwhelming when you have a huge goal like saving for a house or saving for retirement, and sometimes it feels like you're getting nowhere with that goal. When you have a big goal, it's really important to have small goals along the way so you feel like you've achieved something and you feel like you can celebrate a small win. So having small goals and small wins along the way makes us feel motivated to work towards a larger goal. So let's talk about some small wins you can have this week and feel financially stronger by the end of the week. My name is Jess and I make personal finance content, and if you're interested, I'd love for you to stick around. One great financial goal that you can have this week is to save an extra $100. Now, for some people that may seem impossible, like where am I going to find $100 extra to save? I'm already saving as much as humanly possible, but for some people that eat out all the time or get coffee every single day, cutting back a few things will make it very easy for you to save that extra $100. If you're someone that's saving as much as possible, you may be asking yourself, how in the heck am I going to save $50 to $100 extra this week? How can I achieve that goal? Well, there's a few things you can do today and throughout the week to get that extra money that you think you don't have access to. First and foremost, look around your house and see if there's anything that you can sell that you're not using or something that you don't like or value anymore. Facebook Marketplace is a great place to sell things. There's also consignment stores for clothing like Plato's Closet, and there's tons of other ones as well for you to sell things that you're not using and get cash right away. So to get to that $50 or $100 goal that you have for this week, I would also recommend looking around your house and seeing if there's anything you've purchased recently that's still new with tags that you have the receipt for that you can return. A lot of times we buy something impulsively and we don't actually need the items, so it's really important to return those items if you're not going to use them instead of just donating them in the future. I actually have a few Costco returns that I'm hoping to do this week as well. I'm going to take that money and I'm going to invest it. So it's really important to make sure you return items that you're not going to keep as soon as possible. Another small financial goal you can do this week is to cancel unused subscriptions. I'd recommend taking some time and writing down all the subscriptions you currently have. Write down how important they are to you right beside the subscription, and then see which ones you want to keep and get rid of. Sometimes we have so many subscriptions we're not even aware of that just go unused, and we're literally throwing away money because we're not using that service. I'd also recommend questioning what you think is a need. Do you really need to have 2 to 3 streaming service subscriptions at once? Or would it be better if you rotate it and only have one a month, which is what my husband and I do, and it saves us so much money throughout the year because I'm not going to have Netflix and Disney Plus at the same time. I'm going to have Netflix and then I'm going to cancel it right as I sign up for it so it doesn't renew on its own. And then the next month, if I want, I can sign up for Disney Plus or whatever other subscription service my husband and I are interested in. I personally love just having one streaming service at once because in a few months when I sign up to it again, there will be so many more new things that I can watch, and I'm actually feeling like I'm getting my money's worth instead of just keeping it and watching 1 or 2 things in a month, or just wasting my time watching something that's not actually that interesting to me just because I feel like I have to watch something. I know that $10 or $20 a month doesn't seem like it adds up to a lot, but that's $120 to $240 a year that you can save by just making sure that you only have one streaming service at once instead of having all of them at once. And if you're someone that has a ton of them, then you're going to be saving a lot more per year, and you can take that money and put it towards whatever goal you have. Another small and simple financial goal you can do this week is pick one day and do a no spend day. On my channel, I have a few videos on no spend or low spend and how you can get started with that. But if you've never done one, I'd recommend taking a day out of this week and not spending outside of your necessities. That means that if you have a bill to pay, you still pay it. If you must buy something that is a necessity and something you need to survive, you still purchase it. But if you're someone that goes and gets a latte every morning, that's something you wouldn't do on a no spend day. If you tend to eat out, that's something you wouldn't do, or go buy clothing or go buy things that you don't need, or any Amazon purchases. You would just have one day of no spending, and that will grow your savings muscle, and that will help you be more disciplined when it comes to what you want to purchase and what you want to buy. If you're not ready for a low spend week or a no spend month, it's great to start with one day, and that's something that you can actionably do this week. The next thing I would recommend is not grocery shopping for the whole week. Now, if you're someone that has a very low supply of food in your house, you may think I'm crazy, and most likely this will be impossible for you to do, but I feel like most people, or the average person, has some pantry goods, has some items in their freezer and their fridge that they can eat through and use. Sometimes those pantry goods and the things at the bottom of the freezer go bad because we never allocate a time to use them and we just continually buy groceries. So I would definitely recommend taking a week off buying groceries and use up what you already have in your house. Find fun ways to make recipes with what you already have. I think there's some recipe websites where you can type in exactly the groceries you have and they'll give you meal ideas with those groceries. And remember, if they mention spices or certain things they would recommend and you don't have those spices, you don't need to buy them, but you can look up substitutes. For example, if you don't like cilantro and a recipe calls for cilantro, you can use parsley. Or if you don't have paprika, you can just omit it or use something else. It's really important to set a dedicated time for us to use through our pantry and use through our freezer and all of the things and the excess groceries that we have so we don't waste money and waste food. So this next thing that you can do this week is very simple. If you feel like all of those other tips are quite overwhelming, I'd recommend just tracking your spending this week. If you feel like getting into saving money is really difficult and you feel like you're getting nowhere with your savings goals, take some time this week to write down everything you spend, because then in the future you're able to cut down on things that are unnecessary and actually learn what your spending habits are. Sometimes we don't know where we can cut down or what we can do to change our spending if we don't understand what we're spending every single week. So I would definitely recommend writing down or finding a budgeting app and writing down all of the things you spend this week so that next week or the week after you can implement some of these tips, like having a no spend day. If you generally go out to eat every Wednesday, maybe you can cut that out for one day. Another thing to be aware of is you are accountable to yourself. What this means is that if you decide to take these tips and kind of shift them in ways that works best for you. And what I mean by that is, let's say Wednesday is the day that you go out to eat every single week, but you decide to do your low spend on Thursday, which is already a low spend day for you. You're not going to save a lot of money. But if you choose to do it on Wednesday, it may be a little uncomfortable not to go out to eat, but you will save some money right away that you can put towards a goal. If you're someone that doesn't invest consistently and you kind of invest whenever you feel like it, I'd recommend setting up automated savings on a specific day of the week, whether it's the day that you get paid or a day that you know you have some cash in your account. It could be $5, it could be $10, but making sure that that money is moved aside somewhere that is set for savings only is really important, because sometimes it can be hard for us to take money and allocate it towards savings, especially if you don't have a budget. For me personally, I have a budget, so I know how much I'm saving, I know how much I'm investing every single month, but if you don't do that, it's really important to automate your savings so that every week or every other week when you get paid, savings automatically gets transferred into your savings account. It can be really difficult sometimes to let go of small things right now for a bigger goal in the future. So that's why I would recommend trying to implement some of these small things that you can do this week so you feel like you have a win by the end of the week. When a goal is extremely far away, it can feel very disheartening and disappointing that you're not achieving it as quickly as you'd want to, or in the time frame that is exciting for you. A lot of people like small little goals that you can see and achieve and feel accomplished, which is why I'd actually recommend having one small goal that you can do every single week for a month, because then you have small little wins that can create this big monumental goal, like saving up for a house or saving for retirement or a trip. It's really important to motivate yourselves for savings, because sometimes if we don't do that, we just spend everything because we feel like there's no end to the tunnel, there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and it's just constantly just saving with no end happiness and excitement, because it's important to celebrate small wins so that we feel like we're doing something important. I would love to know in the comments if you're going to set yourself a small financial goal this week so you can have a financial win and feel like you accomplished something for your finances and savings. I really appreciate you watching this video, and I make personal finance content, and I'd love if you stick around if you're interested in those types of videos. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!